Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone. First of all, let us introduce ourselves. We are from Group 1. My name is Nisatri Antika. My nickname is 0601182429001.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, my name is Kancana Kirani Himalia. My student number is 0601182429009.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, welcome to Group 1. And first of all, let us introduce ourselves. My name is Siti Aisyah and my student number is 0601182429013.
Hello everyone, my name is Muhammad Harun Al-Rashid and my student number is 0601-1182-4209-002.
In this video, we will explain about structure skills 1 until 10 in this language test preparation course. This part of the test is very important because it measures our ability to recognize the correct sentence structure in English. According to Educational Testing Service ITS 2020, structure skills are tested to make sure that students can identify subject, verbs, and sentence patterns correctly. Therefore, understanding these skills will help us avoid common errors and improve our TOEFL score. So, let's move to the skill 1. Skill 1. Be sure the sentence has a subject and a verb. Why? Because in English, every sentence must have at least one subject and one verb. But the most common problem is that sometimes the subject or the verb is missing. Or sometimes there is an extra subject or verb. Alright, this is the example 1. Beep was pick up for meals on the freeway. The option is A. Yesterday, B. In the morning, C. Traffic, D. Cars. I'll give you 5 seconds to answer this question. Yeah, the correct answer is traffic, because traffic is the subject and was is the verb. So that's a complete sentence. So the key point is always check that the sentence has a subject and verb and they must agree. So let's look at number 1. Running fast in the park. This looks like a sentence, but actually it is not complete. Why? Because it has no subject. We only see an action running fast, but we don't know who is doing the action. That means it is a phrase, not a sentence. Now, let's check number 2. The children play outside. This one is a complex sentence because it has a subject, which is the children, and the verb, which is the play. So, the correct answer is number 2. So, that's all the explanation for skill 1, and now we move to the skill 2. Skill 2. Be careful of object of a preposition. A preposition is a word such as in, on, of, at, by, and many more. When we use a preposition, it must always be followed by a noun or pronoun. So, this noun or pronoun is called by the object of the preposition. This is for the example. After his exam, Tommy will take a trip by boat. So, here exam is the object of preposition after, and boat is the object of the preposition by. So, the most important point in this skill is a propositional phrase can never be the subject of a sentence. But many students often make mistakes by thinking that the object of the preposition is the subject. For example, in the classroom is many students. This is incorrect because in the classroom is only a prepositional phrase. So the correct answer is there are many students in the classroom because the real subject is many students. So, to summarize these skills 2, there are 3 points. First, identify the preposition. 2. Find its object. 3. Remember that the object of a preposition is not the subject of the sentence. So that's all for skill 2. We move to the skill 3. Skill 3. Be careful of appositives. First of all, let us understand what an appositive is. An appositive is a noun or noun phrase that comes before or after another noun, and it has the same meaning or gives additional information to another noun. In other words, an appositive used to explain or rename the subject, but it's not the subject itself. For example, Sally, the best student in the class, got an A on the exam. In this sentence, Sally is the subject. The phrase the best student in the class is the appositive because it gives more information about Sally. If we remove the appositive, the sentence is still complete. Sally got an A on the exam. Now, here is the problem. In the structured question, appositive can be confusing because sometimes students mistake the appositive for the subject. Let's see an example too. Alright, next example. Beep. George is attending the lecture. The correct answer is D, my friend. Why? Because George is not a subject, but an appositive. The real subject here is my friend. If we read it as my friend, George is attending the lecture. The sentence is correct. Next example. Beep. Sarah really misses her basketball shots. The best answer is A, an excellent basketball player. Because Sarah is the subject and an excellent basketball player is the appositive that explains her. Other options that contains verbs are wrong because appositive do not need verbs. So, what can we conclude? An appositive is a noun phrase that renames or explains another noun. The appositive itself is not a subject. With the appositive, the sentence must still be grammatically correct.
Okay, I'm gonna explain about skill 4, 5, and 6. First, I'm gonna explain is skill 4. Be careful of present participle. What is that? It is a present participle is the ing form of a verb, like talking, playing, and running. In English sentence, this form can be confusing because it plays two different roles. The first role is part of the verb. When it is used with form of be, it is, are, was, were, am, and been. And for the example is, the children are playing in the yard. Playing is a verb because it follows are. Second role is adjective. When it describes a noun directly without a helping verb. For the example, the children playing in the yard are my cousins. Playing is an adjective describing children. This distinction is very important in TOEFL structured questions because many students automatically think every ing word is part of the verb. And for the TOEFL example is, the child blah 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 playing in the yard is my son. If you choose B or D, you are treating playing as part of the verb. Of course, that's wrong. The correct answer is A. Now, because playing is an adjective here, the real verb of the sentence is. Okay, in this practice skill 4, there are 3 questions. I'm gonna to tell you. The first one is, The man blah 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 to the teacher is my uncle. The second question is, she is blah 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 an interesting book. And the last one is, the students blah 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 in the hall are new. Okay, and we're gonna explain the answer. And the answer for number 1 is adjective. It's because it talking about describe the man. And the answer for number 2 is verb. It's because is reading is the verb phrase. And the last one is adjective again. Why? It because waiting describes the students. Okay, let's move on to the skill 5. It is explained about be careful of past participles. What is that? It is a past participle is usually the form ending in ed for regular verb, or an irregular form like ridden, eaten, seen, and gone. Like present participles, they can function in 2 ways. The first way is part of the verb. When it is used with an auxiliary verb like have, has, had, is, was, were, and been. And for the example, the car was repaired yesterday. Was repaired is the verb phrase. And the next example is, she has written 3 books. Has written is the verb phrase. Now, the second way is adjective, when it describes a noun. And for the example, the book written by John is famous. Written is an adjective describing a book. And the second example is, the packages mailed at the post office will arrive Monday. Mail is an adjective. And here is for the twofold example, the packages blah 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 mail at the post office will arrive Monday. At first, you may think the sentence needs a verb, but the main verb is will arrive. Mail at the post office is an adjective phrase describing packages. So the correct answer is D. It's just. And of course, same as before, there are practice for skill 5. There are 3 of it, and the question number 1 is, the letter blah 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 by Maria was very touching. And the second question is, the car was blah 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 yesterday. And the last one is, the blah 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 window needs to be fixed. Okay, let's move on to the next topic, is skill 6. Use coordinate connectors correctly. What is that? It means when you have to complete clauses, each with its own subject and verb, you need to connect them properly. The correct way in English is use a coordinate connector. There are 5 most common connectors. First is and. It is meant to add information. Second is but, means to shows contrast. Third is or, means gives a choice. The fourth is so, means shows result or effect. And the fifth, yet, means contrast similar to but, often surprising. There are structure rule in this skill 5. And here is the structure rule of it. Clause 1 plus comma plus connector plus clause 2. Here's the example. Tom is singing and Paul is dancing. Tom is tall, but Paul is short. And here's the TOEFL example for skill 6. A power failure occurred, blah blah blah, the lamps went out. The sentence has two clauses. A power failure occurred plus the lamps went out. Only so can connect them grammatically. So the correct answer is B. And of course, there are practice for skill 6. The question number 1 is, he is very smart, blah blah blah. He never studies. Question number 2 is, I wanted to go to the party, blah blah blah. I had too much homework. And the third is, you can take the bus, blah blah blah. You can walk to the school. And here's the answer for question 1, 2, and 3. Number 1 is yet, means surprising content. Number 2 is but, means contrast. Number 3 is or, means gives a choice.
Today I will explain English structure skill 7 and 8. For skill 7, at first time and cause connector. If the connector is in the middle, no comma. If the connector is at the beginning, use a comma. Time connector, before, after, when, while, until, sign. Cause connector, because, sign, now, that. For example, I will seek the check before you leave. For exercise 7, number 1, sign the bank close in less than an hour. The deposit need to be talied immediately. I think correct because there is a subject plus verb after sign. Number 2, their background are investigated before are admitted to the organization. I think incorrect because missing subject, it should be before they are admitted. Number 3, the ground had been prepared, the seedlings were carefully planted. I think incorrect because there is no connector. It should be after the ground had been prepared. For skill 8, other adverse connector for condition if, unless, provide. For contrast, although, even though, whereas. For manner, as, in, that, place, where, wherever. For example, although I was late, I caught the train. For exercise 8, number 1, it is impossible to enter that program if you lack experience as a teacher. I think correct because it is followed by a subject plus verb. Number 2, no one is admitted unless the or see the education requirement. I think incorrect because missing verb, it should be unless he or she meet the education requirement. For number 3, I will take you wherever need to go. I think encourage because missing subject it should be wherever you need to go. That's all my explanation about skill 7 and 8. Thank you very much.
I want to explain about skill 9, use non-clause connectors correctly, and skill 10, use non-clause connector subject correctly. So, what is a noun clause? A noun clause are subordinate clauses that function as noun within a sentence. They can serve as subject, objects, or complements. Noun clauses are often introduced by connectors or subordinating conjunction. These connectors have to join the noun clause to the main clause. For the common clauses is what, when, where, why, how, if, whether, that, who, or whoever. Three example. First is example for noun clause as object of verb. Second is example for noun clause as object of preposition, and the last one is noun clause as subject. So in the first example, the word I know and he will arrive are connected by word when, because when changes the clause he will arrive into a noun clause that function as the object of the verb know. And the second example is I am concerned and he will arrive are also connected by word when, because when changes the clause he will arrive into a noun clause that function as the object of the prepositions about. And the last example is a little harder to recognize. So he will arrive is one of the clauses, and the connector when changes into a noun clause that function as the subject of the sentence. The other clause has the noun clause when he will arrive as its subject and is as its verb. The formula for noun clause as object is subject, verb, noun connectors, subject plus verb. And formula for noun clause as subject is noun connector, subject, verb, and verb. The noun clause connector subject is who, whoever, what, whatever, which, and whichever. And the form for noun clause as object is subject, verb, noun connector subject, and verb. The sentence is I know what you did. And the form for noun clause as subject is noun connector and subject, verb, and verb. So there are three examples. First is noun clause as object of verb. The sentence is I do not know what is in the box. The word what is the connector. So the word what serves two functions. It is both the subject of the verb is and the connector that joins the two clauses. And the second one is we are concerned about who will do the work. This example is as a noun clause as object of preposition. So in the second clause, who is the subject of will do. Who also serves as the connector that join the two clauses. The noun clause who will do this work function as the object of the preposition about. And the last example is whoever is coming to the party must bring a gift. This is noun clause as subject.